Price drop? Time to shop. Get to a Nordstrom Rack store today for first dibs on new markdowns. Now score even more, up to 70% off brands everyone loves at Nordstrom Rack. Denim, dresses, sneakers, tops, and more. Plus, get genius deals on jackets, sweaters, and boots for the whole family. Shop your Nordstrom Rack store today and save up to 70% with new markdowns. But hurry, deals this great won't last.
Meet the next generation of podcast stars with SiriusXM's Listen Next program, presented by State Farm. As part of their mission to help voices be heard, State Farm teamed up with SiriusXM to uplift diverse and emerging creators. Tune in to Stars and Stars with Issa, as host Issa Nakazawa dives into birth charts of her celeb guests. This is just the start of a new wave of podcasting. Visit statefarm.com to find out how we can help prepare for your future. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
You are tuned into The Library with Tim Einenkel, rapstation.com.
I couldn't be nobody but myself. You know that. But then they all started talking.
So what doesn't my next guest do, and what talent doesn't he have? He's a producer, a drummer, and he's also the executive producer of J-Dilla's newest album, and The Anonymous Nobody. He's Supa Dave West, and I want to welcome him to The Library with Tim Einenkel.
Thank you.
Well, there's always something to love if you're familiar enough to recognize it. I mean, have you...
You know, obviously the newest De La Soul album is And the Anonymous Nobody, and it's the first De La EP you've been the executive producer on. And when you read your bio in regards to this album, it says, this groundbreaking LP was conceived from 2 years of live jam sessions accompanied by some of the Los Angeles' best musicians, the Rhythm Roots All-Stars. Through these sessions, Supa Dave went to work chopping, sampling, and programming back the elements from those sessions. So the question is, how do you know? Like, how do you know what to chop? How do you know what to sample? Is it a game plan that you have, or is it kind of just by ear as it goes?
Well, one, let me make a really quick correction.
Okay.
I'm a co-executive producer alongside De La Soul and Rhythm Roots on this project. I just want to make that clear. I'm not the executive producer. But what it was is there was enough time to let things naturally become what they were going to be without being too formulaic.
Right.
And so the jam sessions spread out all of that time. Also, I'm a part of those jam sessions. It's not like the band was just like doing their thing. I was in the band. So the drummer that they usually worked with, I kind of replaced for this project. And playing drums allowed me to, help De La understand the language of the musicians and the other way around. So with all of this material, things just start to speak. There were special moments in the recording that just stood out. There were standout moments, and those became, songs and material potential for different things. So that's kind of how it happens. You just let the music grow and speak to you. The skill in that is having good ears to know when it's happening, and to know when everybody kind of nods and knows when those moments are happening and say, oh, this is right here. And so, we harnessed in, even from the live aspect where we were jamming it out, when we would hear those moments happen, we would just kind of stick to it and try to feel out the moment and get the most out of it musically.
You have over 2 years of live jam sessions.
Mm-hmm.
What percentage of those live jam sessions did you use, and versus what percentage afterward did you find? What did you use? What percentage do you think was usable, but you didn't use, and this kind of what percentage was this not usable at all?
Well, quite honestly, music just changes over time, so it'll always be like that footage that we have will always be turned into songs that have the potential to. It's just how it's like a good record collection,
right?
And so that's how we saw it. But like, a good percentage of the album is a lot of the live stuff that's standalone, and then we added to it and pieced together and added other stuff to make it what it was. Mm-hmm. And then the other half, was obviously drum machine and PC shit. It's just like, me going through those sessions and picking out certain things from that same band and from those same movements and chopping and reinterpreting my own movements in that. So it was kind of 50-50. As far as what's left over in the sessions that can be made into musical works, that's endless, man. We were just tapping into that. It was just so much footage, so much stuff.
Wow. Supa Dave, I believe this is your sixth album with J-Dilla, right? What has been the major difference in the collaboration process since the first album until now, and then kind of what has stayed the same throughout the collaboration process?
What's remained the same? Let's start with that. What's remained the same is the fact that we don't stop being creative in downtime. So when it's time to jump on the next project, there's a lot of stuff that's already embryo, ideas is ready to kind of go and start being structured. Like the process just never stops. We never stop talking music. We never stop conceptualizing. We never stop just kind of, it's like a life movement. And, we're all the same people kind of, we get up and kind of live for it. So, I'm calling somebody if I'm running through something. I'm like, hey, listen to this. I'm shooting an idea. And it might not happen just then, but it'll be like in the back of my head. It'll be kind of like on a mental checklist of like what needs to happen. And that remains because we are kind of like the same people musically in a creative way.
What has been the major difference for the collaboration
between the albums?
Yeah.
It's broadened. From then until now, like a lot of the studio culture has changed. We're not in like, big old A rooms doing a lot of things a certain way because that studio culture has changed. It's downsized. It's changed. Digital 2-inch, it's going to Pro Tools and it's going to, being very on the spot and edit wherever you are.
Right.
Just like the Anonymous Nobody album was kind of done while we were jamming in L.A., we had a condo, like a penthouse condo suite in L.A. where we were, had the Pro Tools set up in the living room and the Snake running to the closets just for vocal,
right.
So we kind of set up where we were. That was different from what it was back then.
But you guys were, so with and the Anonymous Nobody album, you guys were together though.
Yeah, we were together. Said were we together?
Yeah, versus like, you have someone create a beat, send an email to, it wasn't like, it wasn't, an email collaboration album.
No, not at all. When we did it together. We set out a time to be in the same space together doing that, definitely.
And why for you guys, why is that important? Like, what's the importance of being in the same room, same city, together when creating an album or a piece of music?
It's more of a cohesiveness. You can hear things quicker. You can hear things more direct. If we're working on one piece and then another idea comes, you can see how it fits quicker. There's not, because this is a touring band as well. You got to understand, like, they're touring constantly. So I'm not having to email them with this kind of project. I'm not having to email them ideas or get approval on something to try something. We're in the same room, so we try it out, and we kind of know right there what it feels like. Just getting to the music quicker.
Right. Obviously, because I imagine presenting or having a listening session on something versus it's easier to convey what you're trying to do at the point you're trying to do versus sending an email that someone might misinterpret or.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
You when you this is the first J-Dilla album in 12 years, right? Since the Grind date, which you were a part of as well. When you got that call or that email and them saying, "Hey, we want to do an album and we want you on it," what was your immediate reaction?
It's exciting. De La Soul is a musically exciting kind of a group. Because we kind of throw pain at the canvas. You know, it's not always how it starts, and it's not always how it's finished. It's like how it's what it becomes. So when you get a call like that, when I get a call like that, I know I'm in for a ride musically, you know?
Right.
And I'm suited for that trip. So I kind of bring the soda and the chips, you know? And that's just how it is, you know? And we take turns driving, and it's the perfect scenario. That's a perfect parallel for what we're talking about. That's it right there. So getting that call is just like, okay, all right, where we want to start? Is there a starting point? And this starting point was about the fact that there was a lot of tracks done before. Like, there was supposed to be a whole nother studio album that was being done. And after a while, there was a conversation between them and the band, because the band would tour with them and do certain dates. And there was a conversation with the band to do something more organic, more live, musician-based. And after that was kind of like flushed out, then it was like, hey, Dave, come in and jump in with us. And then I assumed the position of drummer in that band. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Situation.
Just to go back, when you're doing these jam sessions and you're the drummer, for this album, are you guys, prior to this, are you guys having a discussion of like, this is the purpose of the album? And then if you are, does that change how you would approach, I guess, a jam session with a group?
I know the conversation. I know the application when it comes to hip hop music from a live perspective and from a drum machine perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in doing that, I'm playing a certain way to create space and create nuances and create moments in the music. Like, it's a jam session, and it's totally unstructured the way it starts. Like, we're all kind of conversating and talking musically, but there's certain things that I'll do with my producer ear on to push other energy that I know is tempo driven for what the group could rhyme on, or certain things like that. Mm. My instincts are there for those moments to also jump into material that might be fly, you know, for them to rhyme on, like Houdini. Perfect tempo, perfect kind of thing. Perfect loop, you know? Plug signs on the jackets, get props, yo, like a prop Joe package. It's illegal how those kids can come from out of the slums and live so regal. Lose it all on a prayer to the ego.
It's interesting that you talk about, instincts. I feel like a common, not common, but a thread with a lot of great, producers is that, you ask them for, like, what's the secret, or how do you know? And it seems like a lot of it's based on instincts and how, you just know when to, like, add an extra kick, to the snare or something like that.
Well, when you're programming and you're doing all these things all these years and putting together songs and editing, you become a human version of that when you're in a live setting. I do.
Right.
So there's certain things I'm just going to do that are based on all of this knowledge, like crammed into one big old creative pot. So as much as it's loose and free, it's not totally miscellaneous. You feel me?
Yeah, no, definitely. You've not just obviously created albums with J-Dilla, and you who are lyricists, but you've also you did the album Beatboxing, which is a non-lyrical album. How do you, I guess, when you're creating an album like that, what purpose does that serve for you? Just to have an album like a beatboxing album, and then are you trying to convey a message through that album, or are you just really trying to show off kind of your instrumentation skills or your producing skills?
Beatboxing is based on it's a culture album. It's based off of beat tapes. The culture of early hip hop culture, how you shopped music. I would play music for them early. Pops would put what he liked on a cassette tape and take it home. And, I would burn CDs and pass them out like it's the beat tape concept. How to turn a beat tape that becomes a beat tape, goes from becoming a beat tape to becoming an album, that's a skill set, because you got to keep it interesting enough. The beats have to be kind of like cohesive enough, or, you know, exciting enough, or have moments enough to keep your attention, or it just becomes a beat tape again. So there was a lot of editing and, you know, sound bites and certain things to give the beat, that album, a theme. And I wanted to make that the vocal, kind of like the vocal presence on the album, like the sound bites and the little things. And I wanted it to move fast too, so that you didn't get bored with it. That's why each song wasn't too long.
Right.
The same way you would listen to a good snippet beat tape and be like, oh, I like these two. These fit the conversation if you're, you know, doing an album. And yeah, I was kind of like, there's a certain era of hip-hop I was trying to do on that album that was something that I don't hear a lot of people do. You know, it was boom bap, but it was kind of classic.
Right.
It was a certain era, like some of the shit you would hear like a Bismarck or a Chubb Rock on. Not exactly like, you know, super modern, 97 to 2002 hip-hop, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I was just stressing that.
Is there a beat that you've kind of created two questions. Is there a beat that you've created that kind of still blows you away, knowing that you made it? And then also, is there kind of a beat out there that you hear and you kind of wish you were a part of, or you might have been wish you were like a fly on the wall during the creation process of that?
That's interesting. No, there's not a beat that I hear that really like blows me away that I did it. I feel like I'm still chasing that beat. You know, because when you do work, I'm an independent contractor when it comes down to it. Like, I'm connected to great people, but I'm working for clients.
Right.
So a lot of time I'm trying to fashion things that they want to hear, or, you know, pieces of the puzzle that may fit the album. So I think now my conversation going forward is about finding those things that are really going to turn me on musically. I like We Gonna Make It, the Jadakiss beat. Every time I hear that, it excites me. On the pop side, I like Happy. You know what I mean? I have a big range. You know, DeWick, that reminds me of Queens, my neighborhood. That was considered like drug dealer music to us. You know, DeWick and EPMD, that was like hustler music. So we would hear that blasting in the Jeeps going down the street. There's a lot of things that are emotionally tied to certain beats. So that's a big answer for that one question.
We're speaking with Supa Dave West. He's the co-executive producer of De La Soul's newest album, The Anonymous Nobody. Is there a track on, like, I know it might change, but is there a track on this current album that you're just kind of, it could be your favorite, or you're just thrilled that it was done, or because it's a real labor of love for you?
I like the Nose Up record because we were really trying to hit on some kind of Parliament Funkadelic shit. And George Clinton, you know, never made the cut of the album. George was supposed to be on that record. And so Dave was affecting his voice and doing certain things. We were going to do certain things to give George a clear depiction of how we wanted that to feel like. And then after we listened to it, we were like, this is banging how it is, you know?
Rather stay clear, roll up the papers and pass while you turn your nose from the smell. Like Stanley on Friday saying we should stay off the grass, as if the lines you sniff is more healthy. Delusions of prestige is not where the hell.
I think, you know, Dale has this way of like jumping around in between genres a little bit. So Greyhounds is real slick, how it's kind of R&B, but it's still like, I don't know, it's just still kind of, it has all of these lanes it can go into.
Build her an eagle that's filled with illegal maps. Road destination unknown. She's little Bo peeping her and her home.
Drawn is a beautiful track. And Memory Of is a beautiful track to me. On the listen back of Memory Of, it's just like, oh my God, the mix and everything was just perfect. It's so hip hop, you know?
What was that collaboration process like in terms of making that particular track?
Well, that was the thing that Estelle I think they were trying to get Estelle on something, and she presented that because it's something that her and Pete had worked on. And so then we came in, I came in and kind of like messed with the drums and did some editing. And the group, you know, Dilla, Paz, and Dave, we kind of like switched that arrangement up to make it our own. That's how that happened. That's why it's featuring Pete Rock, because the source of it came from Pete Rock and Estelle.
You obviously work with an array of. You've worked with an array of artists, not just De La Soul, but your name's tied to like Talib Kweli, Common, Slum Village, Ghostface. In the debates of lyrics, like the lyric debate being content versus subject matter versus flow or concept. How important is it if you're going to work with, say, an MC that their content is tight, or is it more important that their flow or even the concept of what they're saying is tight?
It's very important. That's why I haven't worked with, like, personally handpicked too many people that I work with like that. Because it's very hard for me to find people. See, me working with De La it's not just about the fact that we're friends and that we end up just doing it, the music thing over and over again. It's the fact that we fit. There's a marriage to the beat. There's a marriage to that works. A lot of times I don't find people that marry what I do correctly, because I also MC, right? So in my head, I'm doing music. I'm spitting my own shit to that. So if you're not kicking my ass and what I'm spitting to or while I'm making it, like, I can't, you know what I'm saying? That's just how it is. Like, and I'm not trying to sound arrogant, but that's just the honest truth. It definitely comes down to all of that. Even if you can't rhyme, but your voice is crazy, like, there's certain principles of, like, I think hip-hop vocals that are just true. Like, either you're born with a voice or not, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, Nas's voice is just a hip-hop voice. Biggie's voice was a hip-hop voice. Ghostface's voice, Ray's voice, Old Dirty's voice, those are hip-hop voices. You know? Mm-hmm. So you can't get around that. So if you're styling out on it, I'm into that. If you're extremely lyrical and it's witty and it's just like you make the canvas, you know, the beat, the canvas perfect for what you're trying to do, I'm into that. So I see it from like 5 different angles when it comes to that particular thing. Certain beats is like you want to hear them. I want to hear somebody like they're crawling out of the bed and they haven't cleared their throat yet because of the tone of the music sounds like that. You know, from a serious art perspective, I'm still looking for MCs to tap in like that.
So do you have like I imagine then you have just beats and beats and beats that just have not been used yet and you're just waiting for that perfect artist? Oh,
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just make beats for the hell of it. I mean, like, beats is an exercise. That's like a God-given talent. I kind of worship God with that. I give that back to him every day. You feel me?
Yeah.
So it's different. I'm talking to God like that. So it's way different than just like it's a stockpile waiting for somebody. But in the sense, it is that because it has to be something that's worth that moment, you know? It
reminds me of, and I know you worked with him, BBC did a radio documentary on Dilla a while ago. Mm-hmm. And right. And there's one thing that like always stood out to me was being in Detroit, and then one day after they were at a club, going back to Dilla's place, and he started playing them records, and then he started like playing like 2 seconds of each record and saying, all right, see that there? That's a beat. And then he went through like 20 records, and at the end of the story, he was like, and with those 20 records, he made this beat. And you're like, wow, just to have that patience and that ear for it is just incredible, you know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of like when you read something like what you're doing, and you're like, wow, to have that patience and that ear is just incredible. And wanting to talk to someone that does that is pretty amazing.
Well, I appreciate that, man. I miss Jay too, man. because he's one of those. Me and Jay were peers, you know what I mean? We talked a lot, and we talked a lot about concept, and you know, we got on around the same periods. Like I had a deal with Q-Tip for this group called Hot Sauce back in like 96, 97. At the same time, you know, Jay was coming from Detroit and coming to Tip's house the same way I was coming from Queens, coming to Tip's house in Jersey. You know, so we eventually hooked up, and we would record dig in New York and stuff. But it's just like, there's a responsibility to it. And it's evident. That's why he's in the Smithsonian. You know what I mean? Right. Serious responsibility to it. Some people are born to like do certain things and be a chemical engineer. I'm born to touch music.
Yeah. Wow.
Period. That's what I'm born to do. And I know that. And that sense of purpose, once you notice it early, just like anybody else's sense of purpose, you start running. Right. You know, you start running and start creating and start, you know, sifting through your life to see where the conversations fall and all of that. So, it's, you know, so when you have a band of brothers and a band of misfits that are into that same thing, it's like a bunch of kids on the island just exploring, you know?
Right.
And it has no age. It has no time stamp and no age on it.
Right.
So I don't know why. And, like, I haven't aged. Like, I still look 27. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of us look kind of young because we don't live a corporate America life. We live a music. Did you hear that? Life.
It's not just knowing your samples, it's how you put them together. Robert Glasper is a jazz pianist who's worked with everyone from Mos Def to Jay-Z. One summer, he and Bilal went to make some tracks with Dilla in his legendary basement.
It was like 3 a.m. We just came from the club, and he was like, "Yo, Bilal, can you sing over this?" Pulled out one record and played like into a minute of it. It was like those 3 notes of the bass. Took the record off, put another record out, waited like 30 seconds into that song. It was like those 3 notes of that bass, put a different whole another record out. And it was like, and those 3 notes. If I put all those together, could you sing over that? Here now as I he was like, hold on, and put them joints together, and that became.
What's next for you? I mean, this album's out. Will there? Are you and Dilla working on more albums, or is it another 12 years that fans will, you know, wait with agony?
Well, it's quality versus quantity, but I mean, I think it's very clear that it's really about their tour schedule.
Right.
You got to understand, like, if there's 300 plus days out of the year, these dudes have to be like close to 200 and change out of the year where they're touring. So they're gone all the time. That time, you know, I don't think people put that together, that they're an actual touring group that's been touring since the 90s heavily. Right. And not in the States, in Europe and throughout the world. So, they're touring at the rate that's probably as crazy as Ariana Grande or, like a Madonna. Like, they're out there. They're a mega touring group. That's the time that goes on between the albums and certain things. It just comes down to schedule. I'm working on an album called Digital Native, and that's going to be a release, and then I'm going to do Spitboxing, which is the answer to beatboxing. And I'm going to just do a couple of albums. It's time to, like, kind of make a statement as far as my production. I've been a work for hire and a part of a big family for a long time. It's just time to, do my own thing for right this second.
Would Spitboxing have you on it lyrically?
Yeah, definitely.
Nice.
Yeah, Digital Native too. Definitely.
That's real dope. Shit. Oh, you do everything. That's impressive. He's the co-executive producer of De La Soul's new album, and the Anonymous Nobody. He's obviously a super, super talented individual, and I'm honored that he's been on my show at the Library with Tim Einenkel, rapstation.com. Supa Dave West, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yo, a slow burn, we all last long, 3-man act, wake up, life to earn that slice of life. Cock back, aim, shot, the name wherever the price is right. The pain earned is the pain learned. Heads talking like burn. Connect
to the same as it ever was.
Respect the lane cause it never floods and well irrigated. Looking for my vanity is there, the mirror hated and stated. Stop being an MC and give your verses more weight by being just M.E. Thoughts are oxidized when I spit them out. And my lungs prefer tastes, encrypted words laced to get them out the home.
We reward this
with removal service to get kings out the throne.
More hands-on.
With hands up on the neck of a voice magnifier over decks. The sound is found, lithium's in the batch. Lovely how I let my mind float. You can catch me in the early morning. Find me up with no yawning. Haven't been asleep, I'm on cue. 8 in the corner pocket from the booth all 24 hours like it was our debut. Life edited, my etiquette. Dreams beyond your eons, you can't wait this out. Star Blitz starring It's That crew who never call the splits. Convey lines made from outer spine. So the nerve of us to be so damn crushed. Grit like J-Dilla and we sip from the grill. Where the current cause connect, so we're not unsung, just vets. This mission's undone.
We're getting loot in this, you new to this, we're showing this. Baby, you already know who it is. We've been doing this. We've been doing this. The truth of this, since you who's tuna fish, catch flights, hit the stewardess. We've been doing this. We've been doing this. Yo, it's an honor and a pleasure. Rappers is not trying to see me like a diamond tester. No, I'm on the low, I'm like a silent investor. Well dressed, my suit and vest is never polyester. Never. Keep a shotty on the dresser. My queen look like a young pepper up in the plum compressor. My tongue is forever under the weather. However, my heart was still lighter than a feather. Culturally, snow them like cocoa leaf. Them niggas suck more with no teeth. On the low in my polo tee. The show costs money, but the promo's free. My pen collection is interesting, no still. But still niggas will feel threat. My genetics is comedic. Driven in lambs, I was looking angelic. Psychedelic. If niggas like it, I could sell it. But I don't fuck with that sweet shit, I'm diabetic. This is rapping at its peak. The bird steady yapping at the beak of a parakeet. You're not unique, you know Cool Keith. This shit is more parody. To get with the Illa rhyme distributor. First might run you a year's salary. You're getting loot in this, you new to this, I'm showing this. Baby, you already know who it is. We've been doing this. We've been doing this. The truth of this, since you who's a tuna fish, catch flights, hit the stewardess. We've been doing this. We've been doing this.
Put that bread on all fours to catch it in the rye. New York City lights look better in July 4th. No fireworks we dangle in the sky like right there. Feeling the night air, promoting a fair fight. Square dance, men of the face off. Crooked eye letters for Madoff, apologizing. Long journeys walk the cold hard facts. Once turn up there, there's no turning back. From rock cocaine flows and flows that a crack at the hemline. Verses on the land, muddy Jaman. That hard work you do on the scale, ham. Joe Pesci on the dish, so messy on the disc. Puerto Rican mommies call me floppy. Leap a tall feeling in a single bound. Way over your head like my ex-girl talking about mind sex.
Well, you're a dickhead.
2 ticks away from all shit, cause I'm an old fart. Go campaign days, yeah. Day fresh like a pound of sage. Decorate the Paramount figures, watch the way they crown the stage. Sip crown, but I was down in age. See the sailor took a sip, saw the whole ship drown in grave. Classmates couldn't find a page. Had the answers written in my palm ever since prom was paid.
You're getting loot in this, you new to this, I'm showing this. Baby, you already know who it is. We've been doing this. We've been doing this. The truth of this, since you who's tuna fish, catch flights, hit the stewardess. We've been doing this. We've been doing this. I lied, nigga. I lied, baby. Pimp said the motherfucking Amityville. We've been doing this. Yo, it's an honor and a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Just in and so good. Thousands of spring deals at your Nordstrom Rack store. Save big today on new arrivals from Kate Spade New York, Nike, Sam Edelman, Free People, and Madewell, starting at only $30. Great brands and great prices on dresses, denim, sandals, designer bags, and more. So rack your look and get first dibs on spring styles you want now from just $30 at your Nordstrom Rack store. What will you find?
Meet the next generation of podcast stars with SiriusXM's Listen Next program, presented by State Farm. As part of their mission to help voices be heard, State Farm teamed up with SiriusXM to uplift diverse and emerging creators. Tune in to Stars and Stars with Issa, as host Issa Nakazawa dives into birth charts of her celeb guests. This is just the start of a new wave of podcasting. Visit statefarm.com to find out how we can help prepare for your future. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.